RLCS World's MVP poll. Take a look at this. Very boring answer, but for me it was Seiko. Yeah, sounds about right. Extra. Sounds about right. Monkey Moon. Sounds about right. Go next. Ooh, Relatingwave, Metasnauris, and Eclipse to be free agents exploring new opportunities. Is Eclipse the coach or sub? I actually am unfamiliar with who that is. And Eclipse would be free agents. I'm going to assume that's a sub. Oh, and our coach. Okay. So let's see what the people have to say. This opens up so many different roster possibilities. Rettles to EU to play with Mets and Wave confirm. Will be so random. I love it. Wave to V1. Okay. Let's just confirm that he's looking for team and trying out new thirds with Wave. Happy to clear up any confusion people have, but can't talk about anything that's under it. Alright. Well, that's good for them. But what about like performance-wise? What do I think? I think that team, they can be good. It's possible. But I think Archie and Seiko have been exceptional, like with their roles on Endpoint in the past. So whatever third they end up getting, I hope they are great and that they can work well with them. But other than that, I wish Endpoint the best. However, what I'm more interested is who is going to play with Archie now on Endpoint. So let me know in the comments what you think with who the possible changes would be in EU. I think Archie, Zen, the kid who's going to be unbanned from RLCS, because I think he's banned right now because he tried playing in RLCS and he was like underage, like 14 or 15. Anyways, I think Archie, Zen in like the spring when he's able to play, and then like some other third. Don't know who that would be, but I'm trying to see people who are like the up and coming like new 2v2 top of the leaderboards type of people. Like I could say Fairy Peak could be on any of these teams, and like everyone's like, oh yeah, he's great, and he probably is great. I think he is. Like Fairy, Mark, and I don't know, some of the old vets, like that's cool with me. But I do want to see a cracked like young team along with Archie and like Zen, and I don't know who a good fitting third would be. Like looking at Team Liquid, they have a Chronic, Oski, and a Tao, and I did not know who Oski and a Tao was until I saw like show matches and stuff. So like Team Liquid is a prime example of a team that I think is going to be phenomenal this next up and coming split. Because remember, they didn't make Worlds because they came in onto the scene like so late, like into the spring. This is kind of interesting. ARG announcing their new roster September 1st. Oh yeah, it's supposed to be like Mark, and then these other two people knew who they were. Mark, Sunless Con. Okay, let them here. Obviously, it's not Mark. It's bro. Oh, okay. Mark, Atomic, and Dorito is what everyone was speculating. I remember seeing that on Twitter, and there's literally a link right here. So, if that is true, what do I think of that team? Mark, Atomic, and Dorito. Let me be the first to tell you, I think that team is filthy. I think Atomic is incredibly underrated. Super good. An absolute striker. And Mark by 8, an absolute striker. We know that. I mean, that's pretty obvious, right? Mark by 8, absolute demon on the pitch. And then they got Dorito, which I haven't seen that much of gameplay from him. But what I do know is he's very good at the game. And that's all I kind of do need to know. He played with Guild, right? With CRR and who's their third on that team? I don't remember. But I'm pretty sure Dorito was on that team in like the Gamers 8 tournament in Saudi Arabia. And I remember Dorito was solid, and he's like a newer player on the scene. So I think Mark, Atomic, and Dorito is going to be absolutely insane. 8 out of 10 team. Top 5 EU contenders I'm going with. Huge, high hopes for this team right here. There's some good videos on here too. If you're watching my video, I appreciate that. But like, I'm looking at like this BDS thing I really want to look at later. And like, is BDS boring from Johnny Boy? That seems like it's interesting. And then there was another one down here. Okay, calm being goofy, but look, an analytical approach as to what went wrong with G2 in the finals, reviewing stats from ballchasing.com. Shit like that really interests me. I like looking at like numbers and stuff and seeing if people can spot like differences or outliers. That's the word, right? It's been a while since I've been in math class. What were the biggest turning points of the season? Could be for any team. Feel free to speculate. Personally, NRG versus Team Queso in lower round 1 of the Winter Major, especially Game 4. NRG's on match point with a 2-goal lead, then choked the game and the series. Following that, both teams have completely different trajectories. NRG's eliminated from the Major and never found their stride for the rest of the season. Queso made the miracle run through the lower bracket, finish second, and get picked up by Moist and dominate EU and win the Spring Major. Funny enough, both teams finished 5th through 8th at Worlds, but I don't think anyone really believes NRG is the better of the two at this point. That is very true. I think Moist is way better than NRG. I think Moist could have easily finished top 2 at the tournament. Furia just ended up winning against them in a Game 7 incredible goal, probably the best one I've ever seen in my life. NRG, on the other hand, I guess I'm going to hate on them and say they got there with a pretty easy road. NRG had to get there by eating Renegades, who are okay, and then Semper, who are also okay, and then they qualified just from that. Whereas I think every single other team on here had a more difficult road. Furia against the Club and Dignitas, Carmine against Falcons and Optic, FaZe. I think every single other team on here had a more difficult path to qualifying. Maybe version 1, the other team in their bracket. SSG was really good though. I think better than Semper, and I think Endpoint was better than Renegades, even though SSG did sweep Endpoint. They just looked incredibly dominant, and Endpoint was not playing well. Renegades though, Renegades are solid. I can't say that they're bad. They're solid. But I do think NRG had the easiest road out of every single team on here. But BDS losing to game 2 in Winter Major, game 5 OT is a big one. G2 got the upper bracket and went on to win the whole thing. BDS were perfect swept by FaZe, and it was the perfect time to dump Mark. Implications are pretty obvious, and it's poetic that it went on to be the World's Finals matchup. Very interesting. Yeah, I think that was the turning point in the season, and it makes sense. You make a roster move right after getting your ass whooped, and having to face G2 in the World Finals later that split. So looking back on that roster decision, it's kind of like, wow, they made the right choice. They dumped Mark and got Seiko, and they won Worlds. I really didn't want to see them win because they dumped Mark like that, but turns out they were right. So they were right. I was wrong. Business decision paid off, and poor Mark, at least he got his title right, and at least he's subbing for BDS. Low-key, just reading these roster changes, I forget some of these things. G2 picked up Atomic in this split, SSG picked up Daniel, and FaZe picked up Sipical, and that was both of those were after, all 3 of them were after the fall major, and that was crazy. V1 picking up Beast Mode, I forgot these teams were so different at the start of the season. It's literally been such a long season. It's going to be insane to see what the roster moves are following the next couple of days. And then we're back on the Reddles thing, so I guess I'm just going to leave it at this for the rest of the video. A little update on Reddles, though. He did post this earlier. He said, "Want to thank everyone at Space Station. Glad I've called it home for the last 2 years. Please do not hate on anyone for the management side of the company. The decision was straight from the players, and the org itself had nothing to do with it." So I guess it's literally between Reddles, Arsenal, and Daniel. Yeah, so a little update there on my other video, though. I did talk more about the Reddles, like, getting dropped situation if you want to go look at that, but that's going to be the end of this video. I just want to look at some of the roster changes in the past days. Leave a like if you want, and then subscribe for daily Rocket League content. Thank you so much for the support, guys. It means a lot to me. Love y'all. Comment below who you think is an insane roster. Have a good one. Peace.